Greetings, and thank you for joining us for the 58th episode of DC Animation with Spencer and Friends. This is an LMG Podcast Production. Today, I'm joined by a dear friend.
Hello.
Hello. Can you tell the people who you are?
Yes, my name is Wardale Wilson. I am a producer, songwriter, engineer, artist, and you can purchase my services at wardalewilson.com. I am also, outside of that, a very dear friend of Mr. Spencer here. And
Yes,
I
indeed.
like movies, I like anime, I like shows, I like science, and yeah, a little cocktail of all that.
Good. I love it. We've known each other for over 20 years now.
Jeez.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. We're old men.
I don't even feel 20 years old.
I know.
I
That's the
do some
thing.
days, I ain't gonna lie. I do
Yeah,
some
no, there
nights
are
I
some
do.
days when I realize it.
Yeah, I used to
Like,
make fun of my parents for like sleeping, like being sore for sleeping on the couch. And yeah, a
yeah, I
couple
get
weeks
it now.
ago, it hits now.
Yeah, it's hard out here. You did say you were interested in a lot of things. Could you tell the people real quick about your DC consumption?
Yes, so you actually are the one who put me on these DC animated films. Before that, knew quite a bit about the comics, reading here and there. Definitely watched all the live action at the time, and this was probably around 2009, I would say, is when you were just like, "Oh, you haven't seen." It might have been at that time either Superman Doomsday or Public Enemy. It's one of those, and that just opened the door, and I was like, "Oh, they got like these things that are like better than some of their movies that's out."
Yeah. Yeah, we do. And excellent. I love it.
And there's a lot of them.
Yes. This is episode 58.
There
And
we go.
I'm not done. So you know. Yeah, there's a lot of them. And most of them are pretty good, which is why we have a podcast.
And most of them are, if not rated R, very adult oriented.
Yeah, they're for us.
Which I wouldn't aware of that too. You know, watching back in the day the Batman animated series, all that stuff. I was like, okay, this might be a little edgier, but no, like some of these get real.
They get, yeah, some people get hurt. And yeah, it's really good. But,
Oh,
you know, that's why we're here.
exactly.
So I appreciate you for joining us on this journey through DC animation. Today's film is Injustice, released October 29th, 2021, and the comic book on which it was based is of the same name. I will read a synopsis in my own words, and then we're just going to talk about it.
You did.
So, we open on Earth 22 in Metropolis. Clark is doing some, general superhearing surveillance, and here's a baby inside of Lois. She's pregnant, and they couldn't be happier. Then he hears Batman in some trouble, and he rushes off to assist. Batman is in Metropolis trying to figure out what the Joker is up to, and Superman shows up to help and, deal with some criminals. Jimmy and Lois are taking pictures of some different criminal activity, and the Joker shoots Jimmy in the face. Harley knocks Lois out, and she gets kidnapped. Superman can't find her at all and asks Batman for help while he's investigating the Joker's recent moves. Batman calls the League in, and Flash finds Scarecrow dead. Oh no, it's a trap. Flash gets caught in a genjutsu and killed. Superman finds the submarine that they are on and he gets in there. Joker and Harley step aside and Doomsday is there. So Superman takes Doomsday into space because we can't have you hurt nobody. Meanwhile, Batman, Green Lantern, and Wonder Woman apprehend the Joker and Harley. Batman catches the kryptonite laced fear toxin and tries to release Superman from the genjutsu, but it's too late. It turns out who he thought was Doomsday was actually Lois, and he carried her into space. Her heartbeat was attached to a nuclear bomb that detonated and blew up Metropolis.
Double whammy.
Batman Batman interrogates the Joker at Arkham and Superman makes his way there. Green Lantern tries to stop him, knowing that this is probably not going to go well, and Superman snatches GL's ring and keeps it moving. Superman busts into the interrogation and immediately puts his hand through the Joker. Green Arrow captures Harley, and the Trinity has a discussion about ideals and how to move forward under the circumstances. Superman addresses the UN and tells the world there will be no more war. And if anybody got a problem with it, you can get these motherfucking paws. Of course, I'm
Sticky paws.
paraphrasing.
Love
Uh,
it.
we then see a montage of Superman and Wonder Woman shutting down all war. The League has a meeting and end up divided on the matter. Superman stops a US drone strike, which pisses off the US. So they and Mirror Master burn down the Kent home and kidnap Jonathan Kent, threatening Superman and telling him to mind his fucking business. Wonder Woman pulls up on Mirror Master to find out where Jonathan Kent is, and with Raven's help, she gets the information she needs. Superman gets Jonathan Kent out of the mirror dimension, and Batman lets the president know you don't go after a man's parents. That's just the wrong move.
That's
Superman goes to the Batcave to try to make peace with Batman, but that doesn't happen. Superman announces that he is going to move all Arkham prisoners to a more secure location. Batman and Nightwing show up to stop it, that um only to see that Robin has joined Superman. So Harley Quinn releases the inmates, and the heroes have to put aside their differences to, handle that real quick. During the fight, Robin accidentally kills Nightwing, and Batman is fucking done. Superman finds Catwoman and tells her what happened so that she can, console Batman because he's going to need somebody. Meanwhile, Nightwing meets with Ramakrishna and she turns him into Deadwing. Robin tries to get Superman to form an alliance with Mr. Raz Al Ghul, but of course he refuses. Superman goes to see Mr. Terrific to ask for more T-spheres, but Mr. Terrific refuses. Batman puts together a team and a plan to steal Superman's Red Sun cannon from the Fortress of Solitude. He uses the US military to create a diversion, but Superman gets back to the fortress before Batman is able to get the cannon. He uses the Atom to neutralize Superman, but Ra's shows up and destroys the cannon and purges the Atom from Superman's body. Green Arrow shoots a kryptonite arrow at Superman, but Superman deflects it into Jonathan Kent, killing him. Superman responds by killing Green Arrow and creating a police state. Superman comes across a rave with Joker sympathizers and lays waste to the children. Batman needs to free Mr. Terrific to get rid of the T-Sphere problem, so he plans to use Plastic Man to get that done. Plastic Man is able to break Mr. Terrific out with a little help from Deadwing. And Batman plays the footage of Superman's rave killing to the world to, get public opinion where it needs to be. Superman agrees to let Ra's use Amazo in a small town, but when Amazo starts killing people, Superman is forced to fight Amazo, and things aren't looking good. Wonder Woman, Cyborg, and Hawkman come in to assist, but Hawkman gets got. Honestly, Amazo is above Hawkman and Cyborg's pay grade, so they don't walk away from this. Batman and his squad come to assist, and Robin ends up fighting Ra's. They are able to defeat Amazo, and Deadwing helps Robin to handle Ra's while Mr. Terrific goes to other Earths to get help. He brings Earth 9 Superman to the fight, and unfortunately, he's not able to get it done. So Mr. Terrific goes to find a pregnant Lois who lost her Clark. After their talk, Superman surrenders and Batman kisses Catwoman.
Yep.
That's the movie.
That is the movie, and boy, does this one have some twists and turns to it.
A little bit. A little bit. So, what do you think of the movie?
This is one of my favorite ones. I love the pacing. There's really not any dull moment with this. And if I recall, this is one of the only ones outside of what I consider the apocalyptic ones where multiple Justice League members die.
Yes. And that is something that I've kind of, not necessarily the dying part, but like one of the themes that I've had with you in the last episode you were in, it was when the crime syndicate was fighting against the Justice League. So this is, another movie where I've had you looking at a very different version of the same people. And they're a lot looser with truth, justice, and the American way.
Oh, quite a bit. And it Superman was in Homelander mode the whole
Yeah.
movie.
Hmm.
And at first, you can see the decline into evil. Like it's a slow decline. It's first he's just policing, and then it digresses from there.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
I will say, Batman's detective skills are top notch because he knew Lois was pregnant this just from Superman's body language.
Yes. Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about it. Because that was hilarious to me. But yes, I agree. Like that's top-notch detective work. And this is an older Batman. So we know it's an older Batman because Nightwing is Nightwing. So we know that Dick is grown, and the fact that Damian is,
Is
13.
teenish, yeah.
So yeah, like we know that this is a very seasoned Bruce Wayne. Before we get into all of the details of the film, how did you feel about the art style for this movie?
It was I mean it was pretty traditional, like typical Justice League movies. So it wasn't anything where I was just like, dang, that was phenomenal. But it there was nothing bad about it. It pretty much was expected. I do like I will say like the features of Superman, like when he had that little 12 o'clock shadow going.
Hmm.
That was a nice little addition that you don't really see. I can't think of the last time I saw Superman with facial hair.
Okay. Okay. I thought it was a pretty good art style. Not my favorite, but definitely I agree. Like pretty, it fit with what DC does.
Yeah. What didn't you like about it? Or I guess what made it not your favorite?
I think that, and it may not have necessarily been the art style, but I think that I really didn't care for a lot of the costume choices. Not necessarily the choices, but like this world's costumes and superhero outfits. I didn't love them compared to
Mm.
others that we've seen. And I think that one of my favorite art styles is the um, DC animated movie universe, where you have your Justice League War, Apocalypse War, Son of Batman. Like that art style is
Mm.
really good
And it's very
because,
cohesive through it. Like it, yeah.
yeah, and everybody feels like appropriate and proportional. And this, again, I do like this art style. It's just not my favorite,
There were a few things like they made Wonder Woman buff as crap.
which good. She probably should be.
Yes, and I did like Superman's the way that his cape connected to the actual S. I thought that was kind of creative.
Okay. So yeah, because yeah, normally I feel like his cape is just kind of attached to the collar.
Yeah, like the shoulder area and just yeah, someone sews it.
Yeah.
Mama,
Yes.
what's it? Mama
Martha
Kent.
Kent. Yeah.
Yeah,
Who I guess is already dead, but that yeah.
yeah. It didn't really get into what was going on with that. We just got a picture.
Yeah. So, but it's a different world, so it's whatever. We can kind of do what we want. So, how did you feel about the voice cast?
Oh, great. A1. A1. Is that the traditional folks basically? I don't know if Mark Hamill, I thought he was out of it, but I don't know.
No,
At the time this was him, right?
no, this was not Mark Hamill. Um, so I don't know if you will recognize any of the voice actors in this because none of them, like, this is a standalone film in that this film doesn't have any other existing films that tie to it or connect to it. And the voice cast was pretty unique in that none of these people have done these characters before, as far as I know. So,
Interesting. I just thought because it seems like Damon Up, it's like how you were saying with the artwork, it's super cohesive. I would think like with the pretty much Damon and Up, they did a lot of the same voice. So it's interesting that with this one they did a completely standalone idea.
yeah. And I think that this voice cast was pretty good. Of course, I have a bias when it comes to voices because I have what people should sound like in my head.
Who
And
who was anyone distractingly bad?
um, I don't think so. There was nobody that like really bothered me. I think everybody did a pretty good job. The Joker took me some getting used to.
Hmm.
Um, and he wasn't there for a super long time. But yeah, like the Joker's voice was a little weird, and Damien's voice definitely wasn't bad, but I'm used to Damien either be like it was good voice work because he sounded like his age. I'm used to Damien
Yes.
either sounding really, really young or like significantly older, but he sounded like a 13-year-old should.
And they did a really good job of making him mature while still being Damien.
Yes, because Damien is ridiculous. And
But his
yeah,
demeanor in this, he's a bit more calmer, just a little bit.
I would agree. He's a little more calm. I really, whoever voiced Raish, that he did a good job.
Oh, he killed it.
Yeah, like the voice of Raish did a really, really good job to me.
Harley Quinn too.
Yeah, I had to look up who did Harley Quinn because I was like, this, she sounds like
All
most
of
of
them,
the
like
other
yeah,
people yeah,
Margot and yeah.
yeah, and it was Gillian Jacobs who's been in a bunch of stuff. I know her from Community, but
Mm.
yeah, like she did a great job.
Was she one of the, I guess, the bigger names or
Yeah, I would say yes, she's one of the bigger names. Just because she's been in uh a lot of things. I'm trying to think, what has she been in recently that like really matters to people? Because again, I know her from Community, but
mhm.
she's been in
I'm kind
other
of looking it up.
things.
I'm seeing okay, Incredible Burt Wonderstone. I don't know if you've seen that, but yeah, there's nothing that's
Oh,
just like
she's in Invincible. She's Adam Eve in Invincible. I think
oh,
that's
okay, there we go. So
yeah,
she's in this world. This is
yeah,
what she does.
yeah. She does this. So yeah, like that's what I've been seeing her in recently. But yeah, she did a great job. And then I there were two voices that I recognized without having to look at the cast.
And there
So
were
I recognized Wonder Woman because Legend of Korra played Wonder Woman.
uh
And I recognized Catwoman because it was Anika Noni Rose, who was Tiana from Princess and the Frog.
they
And
so they pulling people. It's not just a bunch of scrubs here.
yeah, they got a cast here. Like they got some people with some names. So yeah, like because whenever I heard Anika Noni Rose as Catwoman, I was like, I feel like Catwoman isn't about to get very many minutes, but they got a legitimate actress.
They got it out of they when she was there. Yeah, she served
Yeah,
her purpose.
and I
They
look.
the only thing with the Catwoman lately, it seems like they've been making Catwoman a little too nice. They're doing the whole Mystique route, is what I call it, like the Jennifer Lawrence Mystique thing with Catwoman. It seems like the last, you know, few years maybe.
It's been probably a decade, and yeah, I don't think that the movies are doing that. I think that that's happening like in the like that's actually happening. Like Catwoman
In the
has
comics,
yeah, like
or
Catwoman
that
has done a full transition from villain to I almost don't want to call her an
anti-hero.
I mean anti-hero adjacent. Like she's like if there's a like a scale, like if 0 is straight up villain and 10 is straight up hero, she's like a 7 or an 8. Like she's not a 5 like most anti-heroes are.
That's true. That's true. She's not like, Venom or like
Yeah, like
yeah.
a Deadpool, uh
Yeah.
Punisher. Like she's not gray enough. Like will
She can
she
steal some
steals stuff.
stuff.
Yeah, and she'll like make a questionable decision, but like she's not super likely to put somebody down depending on the version of her. There are versions of her that absolutely are. What I think is interesting is that she's like 50-50 on is she going to be a white Selena Kyle or a black Selena Kyle? Because
I dig it.
yeah, like she's Like I feel like she's about even because we've seen several different versions of Selena Kyle, and she was white through most of the 90s. But I think Eartha Kitt playing her back in the Adam West days opened the door for her to be black whenever she wants to. And so, she
Opened
was
it for
black
Halle
in,
Berry.
yeah, Halle Berry, even though she wasn't Selena Kyle, she was still Catwoman. Um, but yeah, she's black in the Harley Quinn show. She's black in this. She's black in The Batman. Um, but yeah, so
And
she's
she's one of those ones where she's significant, but not significant enough where it would just raise hell for people where they're like, yo, like, yeah.
yeah. But I I don't disagree that they kind of I see why you feel like she went the Mystique route in that they've kind of taken all of the villain off of her, but it is actually canon, like in the comic book, because she and Batman, like she's Batman's main girl,
Yeah.
and so she can't be, a straight up villain and that be the case. And it is more canon. Whereas Mystique, that was purely a Hollywood decision.
Mm.
But with Catwoman, it was actually like happening in the comic books because they tied her to Batman to the point where he'd like proposed to her and all that.
Cause like Mystique, anything pre live action film, I don't recall her even doing like a kind gesture.
She was never, no, like it was completely out of character. And again, they only did it because it was Jennifer Lawrence. Like that was purely a Hollywood decision. But like with Catwoman, it is more than that.
And it's still it isn't, bad enough to where I'm like pulling a red flag on it. It's just something I noticed. And so now I will say one thing I do like is no matter like what platform Batman is on, they do the whole disappearing thing. It's like that's embedded in whatever you're doing via Batman.
Yes, I love it. It's one of my favorite things. So, yeah. Um, all right. So, getting into the movie, one of the things that I thought was interesting, I played the first Injustice, but I didn't play through the second one. Like, I have played the game, but I haven't played through the story. And the first Injustice happened, like, we just are dropped 5 years kind of after it happens.
Mm.
And
They
this
just
is
kind of
kind of,
flash back to it, like, or it's
yeah, like we're just kind of dropped in, like shit has already happened, and they're trying to like the heroes from the good Earth are, finding their way to this Earth to like fix the problems. Um,
gotcha.
but this movie loosely does it, but it doesn't like directly follow the game or the comic because the
It
comic
probably
happens over
had
a much
to.
longer. Yes, that is true. Yeah, the comic happens over a much longer period of time and involves a lot more people. Because one of the things that I put in my notes when I finished watching this was they had to take Flash and Martian Manhunter off the table because those two,
It, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
this is
They're
this
both
is they're too much.
their abilities are so niche. Now, I didn't know he wasn't coming back. I was just like, oh, someone cut the Flash.
They're like, oh
And then
no,
next
he's
thing I know, I'm like,
bleeding.
oh, this movie's almost over, and the Flash is still.
We have not seen that man. Yeah, no, he's dead. Because yeah, oh yeah, when I was watching it, I wasn't sure, but once we got to the room where like the whole Justice League was there,
And he's still good.
I was like, "Oh, Flash is dead."
Yeah.
So yeah, that's when I truly knew. But I wasn't 100% sure the first time I watched it. But yeah, whenever we were in Aquaman was like, "Hey, I can't do," like
I'm
whenever
out of
they were,
this.
yeah, that's when I was like, "Oh, Flash is he died."
Who do you consider the leader of the Justice League? Because I noticed, I don't know, with this one, Batman was taking a lot of the reign. I don't know if it was because Superman was unhinged or that's just the Batman way when it comes to Justice League.
It depends. It's either Superman or Batman, depending on the situation. I feel like it is usually Superman. Like I feel like in more cases it's Superman. rather
Mm-hmm.
than Batman, because sometimes Batman will be like, "Hey, I disagree. I'm not even a full-time member. I'm not doing that."
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, sometimes Batman's got one foot in, one foot out.
Because even
But
Justice League movie live film, it Batman was kind of the guy, you know.
in the live action one with Ben Affleck, yes, Batman was the one who started it. Like it was Batman's idea. Batman was like, "Hey, I think we need a squad to, uh handle large threats. I think we need to, make friends and all that." So how the Justice League forms always depends, but I think that in most cases, like Superman is the leader more often than Batman is the leader.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But there are always uh like versions where one is and versions where the other is, and sometimes there is no like hard leader, but yeah, I'd say usually it's Superman.
And this movie is like the perfect example of why superheroes need to be anonymous.
Yep. And we will talk about that. So, um, we are in Metropolis, and Superman is just kind of like doing surveillance, I guess, if you want to call it that. Um, one thing one of the things I love that they mention is that every Earth thinks that they are Earth One,
Yes,
which,
which
tracks.
would be likely. Yeah.
Yeah, like everybody's gonna, yeah, like we're gonna call ourselves Earth, of course. And so in this, they are pretty much Earth 22. I feel like in the comic book, the Injustice Earth is 49,
Mm.
but that's
Is there
not.
any character who can essentially is like a Scarlet Witch where they can exist as them in the multiple Earths? Like there's only one of one in
There
DC.
there are characters like that. I wouldn't even say that Scarlet Witch is like that, because while she can travel between them, there are Scarlet Witches in multiple, but there are
I
not
I think in
very.
the comics though that was one of her. I'd have to look it up, but I think one of her special abilities was the fact that there wasn't like a clone of her. But it doesn't make sense because if there's like multiple Quicksilvers, but
Yeah. Whenever you get into multiverse and or time travel, it's all bullshit. Like it never
throw everything
it
at the wall, see what sticks.
yeah, like it never lines up. There are always holes, there's always things you can, and that's why often that's what they use to restart and reset, and because the rules don't matter anymore.
And I like that this movie didn't lean on that. Yes, there was mention Earth One, all of that, but it didn't lean too heavy into that. Because I think
Yes.
writing is getting a little lazy because you're just like, because multiverse.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like Justice League and DC, they love to do a because time travel. Like they'll just say,
Yep.
"Hey, Flash, run," and then we just have a new world. Like it just starts over. And then once that world goes to shit, "Hey, Flash, run,"
Which
and
is what
then
Batman said in this movie, actually. He would run.
yeah, and then we start over. So yeah, that is one issue with multiverse and time travel, is that it just creates bullshit, and
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's just the nature.
Creates a bunch of holes that you can just lay over because of the multiverse,
Yeah,
because of quantum mechanics.
exactly. And everybody has different multiverse rules. Like how the multiverse actually works depends on the situation. And so, yeah, because sometimes, oh, if you interact with your multiverse self, it creates a bunch of problems. Other times, people are best friends with themselves. Like, again, it's just nonsense.
It can
It,
get messy real
yeah,
quick.
they do what they want. So anyway, and another thing, there are situations or there are timelines where Superman can't get Lois pregnant because Kryptonian biology is too different from human biology.
Interesting.
Then there are other times where he knocks her up and everything's fine. There are some times where Superman has no interest in sexual relation at all. Like he's just sanitary.
Asexual or
Yeah.
yeah.
And so yeah,
And
like
same with him and Wonder Woman hooking up. Like how this one hinted at it, but there's some where they knocking boots, and then other ones where they're not even on
Yep.
the same train.
That is correct. Because, yes, sometimes it's a situation where Wonder Woman is not interested in anybody. Sometimes Wonder Woman is with Trevor, Superman is with Superman is with Lois. That's the end of it. Sometimes Diana's interested in Batman. So again, we got a lot of options. We do what we want. Because I know that in Justice League War, it was great because we see Wonder Woman and Superman see each other for the first time, and they're
Yeah.
like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
you kind of strong." And I
They
like you.
built some
And
Amazonian Kryptonian kids.
yes, those are
eh,
literally those are the children that
Little
will,
Brock Lesnar's.
yeah, like they will handle any problem that needs handling.
And this one, she shoots her shot, and he's just like, too soon.
Yes, that does happen. And so, um, and it's so funny because there's another movie in Superman Red Sun, which is another alternate timeline where
Hmm.
Superman lands in Russia instead of landing in the United States. Superman tries to make a move on Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman's like, whoa, 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 whoa. And he was like, oh, I'm sorry. I thought that's what I was supposed to do. And she was like, no, I live on an island full of women. And he was like, uh, uh, what? An island full of women. And he's like, oh, I think I understand. Okay.
Dot, dot,
But
dot.
yeah, in that one, he made it seem like he was not actually interested in that at all. He was just doing it because that's what he thought she wanted, and he thought that's what he was supposed to do. Um,
I think in most universes it can't happen because it would just be too much. Like it's just too typical. Like the two strongest of their genders, and then like yeah,
yeah, and in the in Justice League War and in that set of movies, in the DC animated movie universe, they do date and
yeah.
then end up breaking up because there's a movie where Lois walks in and says, "Hey, are y'all, doing an interview?" And Diana's like, "No, this is a date." In case you had questions.
Oh,
So, yeah. Anyway, um so yeah, Lois is pregnant and they're super happy about it. And Batman is in Metropolis, doing some stuff, and that's when they handle the criminals. And Batman is like, or Superman is like, "Hey, I have news." And Batman's like, "Lois is pregnant." It's like, "Oh my God, how did you know?" Because you're trembling.
and
That's
he didn't even look at him
literally,
when he said it.
yeah. Like I can hear you shaking. It's literally never happened before. Like there's no fear in your heart. But yeah, raising a child, I'm sure, yeah, I'm sure that has you shooketh. So yeah, that's how I knew. It's like, that's hilarious.
With no superpowers,
Yeah, he's Batman. And
just straight intuition.
honestly, to be in the Justice League, if you're not gonna have powers, you gotta have something.
You got to be Batman.
You gotta bring some shit to the table.
You know what I'm saying? That Robin may not belong there.
Yep, and that's the thing. He brings some shit to the table. So
And he's
we
king of just in case. He is the master of if stuff hits the fan, I'm
yes,
gonna have this in my back pocket.
I have a contingency plan for everything.
Yep.
That is correct. And so we see that there's other criminal activity going on, and Jimmy and Lois are taking pictures, and then Jimmy gets shot. And I think that's the point when you, like, as a viewer, when Jimmy gets shot in the eye, you realize, like, oh
This is
no,
one of those.
this is one of those.
And
And
Joker's aiming is A1.
A1. And you know that the Joker has a fucking hand cannon. Like, I know the back of Jimmy's head was blown the fuck out.
Yeah, well, he was like, I'm Jimmy's running into my leg.
Yeah, he's like, I got some Jimmy on my shoes. And another thing, Harley Quinn, she be swinging that motherfucking hammer. Like,
Yeah.
whenever she really, like, she does not play around when she swings that.
Once you really about it, yeah, it's a few
Yeah,
people get concussed.
yeah, like Lois might have, like, that was blunt force trauma. Like, Lois might have died from that
And
because
it, thank goodness with Arrow, it was the rubber one, because if not,
yeah, he would not have recovered. But yeah, she does not play around with that hammer because I remember in Return of the Joker, she whenever they kidnapped
Robin
Robin,
or
yeah, they kidnapped Robin, him being a child did not matter. She clocked that poor child.
and they stay unhinged. Like they're completely they stay in character of being unhinged. Like
Yep, that's how they
no
live.
one's driving the car and you're just gonna let it run into the wall while like you're in it.
Yep. And so Jimmy gets shot, Lois gets clobbered, and Superman is like, I cannot find her. Like, I can't see her. I can't hear her. What the fuck is going on? And Batman is, in the middle of an investigation. Like,
Yep.
he ends up at a lab and he's like, you people were studying kryptonite. What are we doing? And they were like, well, we were making cures and well, somebody got your shit. So what is the Joker doing here? Why are you analyzing and studying kryptonite? And Batman is a real friend because Batman was doing like a proper investigation and he dropped everything to help his friend.
Fact. And called all the other buddies.
Called the squad in. Like he said, I cannot find Lois and I need your help. Batman said, I got you. And runs out and calls the league and says, hey, anybody who's free, come on. We got something to do. We need to find somebody. And Wonder Woman is like, we're dropping everything we're doing to find a person.
He
And
said one of
Batman says,
us.
it's Lois Lane. And everybody is like, we're on the way. And again, I love that.
Is that because of their love for Lois or their fear of Superman in
I don't
Superman mode, Superman done mode?
I wouldn't call it fear. I would call it respect and like family. I looked at it as like my boy needs my help to find his wife, and because it's his wife, we are gonna like we ride for this man. I don't think it was a
You
fear
don't
thing.
think it
I
was
think
due
it
to
was a
his temperament or anything? Or
no, I think it was a respect thing. I think it was an honor thing. At least that's what it looked like to me. Now that, you know, it, as far as we are concerned, or as far as we understand, this Superman was the Superman that we know and are used to up until what happens to until what the Joker does.
yes,
So he
yes.
is
So this
still,
is wholesome.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, like truth, justice, in the American way, no killing, like very, a proper Superman up until.
which is
So,
also why they had to show this. I know you were saying in the game they went straight into it. This they have to show that turn.
oh, and they still in the game, they still show like that happening. So they still show like Batman is interrogating the Joker and then Superman busts in and through the chest. Like that is still shown. But they don't show, I guess, what happens. The game is not what happens immediately after that. The game is like the result of what has happened over like what has already happened in 5 years, and you're like dropped into, okay, now we have heroes from another Earth that have
Mhm.
made it here to help deal with this Superman.
So it takes you straight to fastest
Yeah.
Superman mode.
Yeah, like this yeah, he's already, yeah. So Batman calls in the League and Flash finds Scarecrow and Scarecrow's dead. And the Joker leaves a trap for the Flash, and the Flash starts seeing some shit and then he dies. Because again, when you're caught in a genjutsu,
It's a
you got to
wrap.
be released or you're done. So they find the submarine, and we see Superman break it open, and we see a green cloud. And we see Superman, like they let us know it's fear toxin because
Hmm.
we see what happens to the Flash first. He,
Hmm.
starts seeing skulls and shit. And
And the fact
so,
Scarecrow was there too.
of course. And they let us know it's fear toxin and that it's affecting Superman because we see it affect Flash. So they make sure that, like, as a viewer,
Superman or superheroes are not immune to this.
well, we know that um, we know that the Joker laced fear toxin with kryptonite because we see that Batman is investigating, like, hey, your kryptonite was stolen. What are you doing with it? And then we see that the Joker has killed Scarecrow, stolen the fear toxin. And so whenever Superman gets in this green cloud, we watch Superman see Harley Quinn and the Joker, turn to, scary shit so that we know he's on the fear toxin.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're in masks. They step aside and he sees Doomsday and he immediately takes
Trigger.
Doomsday up into space. Now, my thought is as soon as you grabbed Doomsday and busted through the submarine, she was dead then. She was dead way before you
I
made it up into space.
I didn't even think about that. I was like, okay, and how long? I was counting the seconds. How long has she been in space? She's not frozen yet. But no, that's a very good point. Like it really, by the time you make it to space going that fast, she's done for.
Yeah, because you were up in space in a few seconds. So her neck's broken, if nothing else. But
Exactly.
yeah, again, whenever you busted her through the submarine, she was dead then. She was dead on the way up. And then you get up there and
Even
her
before
heart
that, you
was,
break the atmosphere to get
yeah,
up there.
her heart was still beating while y'all were
Yeah.
floating in space. So they're floating in space. He, looks into her heart because we see that Batman and Green Lantern and Wonder Woman show up and, the Joker and Harley get snatched up. And Batman catches what's happening and he's like, oh shit, Clark, stop whatever you're doing. It's not real. It's a trap. And he already had her up there by then.
Yeah, it was over.
It was
It
over.
was over.
And so he looks into her heart. Like I guess the fear toxin wears off because he's in space now. And so there's no breathing or I don't,
That I was curious at right at that moment when he was in space.
yeah.
That
So I'm
makes
guessing,
sense.
yeah, because the fear toxin can't be there anymore. That's the way I'm making it make sense. But he sees that it's Lois. He looks at her heart. He sees something attached to it. Her heart stops, and Metropolis gets nuked. And
And yeah,
whenever Superman saw the submarine, he said, I see a submarine. There's a warhead missing.
yep.
So they set us up for this. Like we know what the game is.
And people say the Joker doesn't plan anything.
I don't know who says that. The Joker's plans are
Or
very
they
in depth.
indicate that do I look like a guy with a plan? And it's like
Yeah,
that's the plan
yeah.
is
Like
your
you're,
perception of not having one.
yeah, like well, yeah. We see what it is, but yeah, they all think it's just chaos, and it's like no, it's very strategic.
Now the why is where it gets interesting, if there is one.
There isn't. He's just a madman. Like usually his why is to break the bat, and he kind of has that conversation with Batman. So,
Yep.
Batman lays it out for us. Batman says, and this is another thing that I'm like, okay. So whenever Superman, he's got Lois in his arms, right?
Mm-hmm.
When you re-enter the atmosphere, there's fire. So she should have at least a
What happens to
couple.
her? Yeah.
Yeah, she shouldn't have just been pristine when they re-enter the atmosphere. Of course, if she starts to be on fire, he's gonna put her out. But she should have
You
some.
don't tiptoe through breaking through.
Yeah, well, whatever. That's fine. Or maybe he entered the atmosphere slowly. So that's what, but whatever. So Batman says, you murdered his wife and his baby and his city. What the fuck were you thinking? Why would you do that? And the Joker's pretty much like, why do I do anything? I mean, but he says to Batman basically like playing with you is boring. So I wanted to hit somebody else. in a way that was
And
easy. And there's no way that the Joker knew Lois was pregnant. He couldn't have known that because
no, no.
they just found out. And the Joker had already been, like, the Joker was already in Metropolis.
And the icing on the cake, this all happens. All you hear is ta-da.
Yeah. Oh, God. And, sometimes I need to be reminded how crazy the Joker is.
Yes.
And these are the moments where I'm like, oh, there was a time when I didn't understand that level of crazy existed. Like, I knew the Joker was crazy, but it didn't occur to me the level of crazy that he was. Like, I didn't think of that as being possible. And so, yeah, like, this is one of those things where I see it and I'm like, that's a different level.
It's an animal, which is
Yeah.
what Clark ended up seeing him as.
Yeah. Like he's built different. And he's not the only person who's built different. I'm sure there are other examples of people who are, the worst kind of people.
He might be on the far end of that spectrum though.
He's on the far end. And so yeah, Batman is interrogating the Joker, and the Joker's basically like, I wanted a new plaything, and I knew I could do it. So
And he said it was fairly easy, which is it shows Superman's temperament against Batman's temperament.
yeah. Because he said, yeah, like, you're no fun. I can't break you, basically. Because that's the Joker's whole thing, is he just wants to prove that Batman can be broken. Like, usually that's the
He's
reason he's doing
corruptible.
this. Yeah.
Exactly.
And he's like, well, if I can't corrupt you, I'll do the next best thing. And Superman is on his way there. And Green Lantern is like, hey, you are grief. Because whenever he descends with Lois's body, he says to Wonder Woman, hey, will you watch over her? Wonder Woman's like, of course. I can't believe this happened. And yeah, he starts making his way. And Green Lantern is like, hey, I know how you feel right now, and you don't need to do that. I know how this is gonna go. I know where you are mentally, and
Doesn't matter. Doesn't
you don't
matter.
need to go there.
He's
And
already
Super
there.
he's it's too late. He is already there. And so Green Lantern is really trying to do some shit. And these are the moments where you realize a lot of like whenever he just snatched Hal's ring off.
Yeah. You realize how souped up he is.
Yeah, like this is a situation where you realize how much Superman holds back and how much like they have to plot stuff because I've said multiple times there are so many situations where Superman could end this immediately.
Yes.
Like,
And it's full of restraint. And because that was probably one of the fastest brawls we've seen amongst two superheroes
yeah,
that are respectable. Like it's not like Green Lantern is a
yeah,
rando. Like
like Green Lantern is usually one of the baddest in the room as far as what he's able to do. And yeah, the fact that Superman embarrassed him quickly.
and that's a very realistic
That's exactly how
way
it
to
would
do
go.
it.
And that's yeah, like the realism there, like those are the scenes that let us know, like, oh, whenever there's a bunch of fighting going on, like that's just because the movie had to happen. But like if you used common sense or if real people were doing this, shit would get done in like movies would last 5 minutes
Yeah, yeah.
because of shit like that. Like when you can do what Superman can do and you turn off the restraint dial,
There are no terrorists. There are no villains. There are.
Superman will handle all of it. And there will be nothing anybody can do. Like it will be over before you realize it's over. Because that's what happened to Hal. His ring was off before he knew his ring was off. Like he still had like the Green Lantern suit hadn't disappeared because
it
he
delayed. There
didn't
was a delay.
yeah, because he didn't know his ring was off yet. Like in like Wile E. Coyote cartoons where he'll like run off a cliff
And
and
he's
then
still there. Yeah,
yeah, but
there's a
he
3
won't
second
know
delay.
until he looks down. That's what happened to Hal. Hal looked down and was like, "Oh shit!" And then
And then catches him last minute.
Superman caught him, put him down, and kept that ring. You don't need. I'm gonna hold on to this for you.
I was curious. I was like, is he gonna throw it in the field? Is he gonna crush it? I was
I
curious what he
mean,
was gonna do.
I I don't think he was to the point of crushing it, but usually he can Mjolnir his ring, like he can just like will it back to him. So
With
yeah,
Superman holding it, you think like,
that's the thing. Like again, Superman probably just I'm gonna hold on to this. I'm gonna give it back to you when I'm done. Because what I don't need for you to be is in my way.
which
And
obviously he wouldn't have been anyway if it was
he
that
wouldn't have been.
quick.
And that's the thing. After that, if I'm Hal, I'm like, I did all I could.
Oh yeah, I'm joining Aquaman.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, I'm not in this.
I did everything I could. I tried to. He got me. He's too much. Sorry.
So we're 20 minutes in, and that's two heroes done.
Yeah, yeah. Flash dead. And so Batman is, doing this interrogation, and he's like the room starts shaking, and Batman is even like, oh shit. Like, I think because Batman says to Joker, you picked the wrong guy. He's not
Yeah.
corruptible. He's better than I am. So, yeah, you wasted your time because you're not gonna get him.
Is
Superman,
everybody corruptible? If Superman is.
that is the argument that could be made. But that's the thing. There are versions of Superman that aren't. This version of Superman happened to be.
And link the
And
hell in.
so yeah, who's writing determines the corruptibility. So because there are times when Batman is corruptible. Like normally we see that Batman is the one who's not, but there are stories where he is. And so yeah, it depends on who's got the pin. I think that one of Superman's powers, generally speaking, is goodness, and the whole point of Superman is that he's kind of immune to this. But
And that's
again,
pure luck. We don't realize how lucky he was to land and be raised by a wholesome Kansas family. Because
that's
imagine if
correct.
he just had like one corrupt or abusive parent. That's
No,
all it would take.
no, and that's what happened. That's what Red Sun gives us. That's also what Gods and Monsters gives us. In Gods and Monsters, we see that instead of Jor-El's DNA, it's Zod. So it's actually Zod's son that lands on Earth. And he lands with a Mexican family. And, they raise him and everything is fine. But he's a very
Hmm.
different person. He's a very different Superman because he was not raised by, on a farm. He was raised by um, migrants that were in the United States. And so his view on the American way is very different
Where did
because
you train? On a farm?
yeah. And so like that's the thing. It kind of gives us the nature versus nurture situation. And yeah, anytime you see an alternate version of Superman, I think that concept is introduced. And
And it
so
do you yeah, yeah. I'm glad that they opened up that scenario and just showed just how lucky he made it to that Kansas family because it yeah.
yeah, because there are a lot like any other situation where he doesn't, it usually goes different. And this is a situation where he was still raised by the Kents and it went different.
Yes.
And so Superman arrives and puts his hand through the Joker. And Batman is shooketh because Batman just knew that there was no way that would happen. And it's
And
like,
there's no
no,
going back.
yep, there's no going back. And, I am obviously, I was with Damien. I was like, this should have happened ages ago. And there are a
And
lot
Joker
of,
left with the punchline still.
yeah, there are a lot of things the Joker needed to be dealt with for. A lot of things. But you killed Superman's wife, unborn child, and 11 million people
Yeah.
just because.
And all at once.
Yeah, just because. So, no, you earned that. You need to be done. We never need to see you again.
What would have justice looked like in another universe? That would have put it to a vote. He would have just went to prison.
Yeah, he would have been locked up in Arkham where he could escape. And yeah, like they, because that's what keeps happening. Like the Joker killed people along the way to make this happen, including Scarecrow. But yeah, that's why. And one of my favorite, matter of fact, my favorite Batman movie, where Batman ends up fighting Superman, is The Dark Knight Returns. And
Yes.
in that, Batman says to the Joker, "Do you know how many people I've killed by letting you live?"
Bars.
And I'm like, yeah, great question. And the Joker's like, "You kept count, and that's why I love you."
At what point is that negligence on Batman?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. It depends on who you ask. Because Batman has the no killing policy because he can't go there. He can't be the judge, jury, and executioner, yada, yada, yada. Let me say this about that. Whenever I watched The Killing Joke, there was a line in there that bothered me because Batman is looking for the joke. And that's the movie where he paralyzes and sexually assaults Barbara
Yep.
and then kidnaps Jim Gordon and makes him, yeah, all that.
Puts him on a roller coaster, all that. Yep.
Yeah. So in that movie, Batman is looking for the Joker and he finds the ladies of the night. And they say to Batman, well, usually when he breaks out, he comes here first. I had a problem with that. Ain't gonna be no usually. If you break out once, I'm gonna put you back because maybe that was a fluke.
Yep.
If you break out a second time,
You get El Chapo treatment.
we're not doing that.
Yeah.
We are not, you not gonna break out of here plural. Absolutely not. We gonna have to do something else.
And for the
And
crimes as heinous as yours. Like you're not doing Selena Kyle robberies and
yeah, you're not
burglaries.
stealing jewels and shit. No, people have died. Like there have had to be, like, the funeral industry is booming because of you.
And you didn't do this to provide for your family either.
Yeah, just because. And not only, like, there are innocent people and then also his own henchmen. Like anybody can get it.
He
And
didn't
so
value anyone.
yeah, so no, we can't, no, you can't just be walking. Absolutely not. And that's why I'm not Batman. Because some people need to die.
I think I don't think it's a coincidence. The human is the one that values human life the most.
That makes sense. And of course, because of what he went through, um, because yeah, like he watched his parents get murdered and he doesn't want anybody to go through what he went through. And so yeah, he cherishes human life because he knows what it's like to lose people.
And when there's a hierarchy, because I don't know if this is I feel like Aquaman done caught some bodies. Wonder
Oh yeah,
Woman caught some bodies. Like
that's the thing. There are a lot of these people, they don't live by the same code that Batman and often Superman do. Wonder Woman don't have a problem putting people down. Because one of the things, I don't remember what this was in, but I remember a line, and I don't know if this was a line or if I just saw this somewhere, but like Batman's villains are reoccurring, they come back, we see them multiple
mhm.
times. That's not the case with Wonder Woman's villains. You see them once and they're done after that.
Facts.
And so, yeah, Wonder Woman does not play around. Aquaman does not play around. They are not of like they didn't grow up in the US. They grew up as royalty in kingdoms
Yes,
of
yes.
of superhumans.
They're not even citizens.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So yeah, no, and they live in a very old world. Like the
Both of
way
them.
that yeah, the way
Mhm.
that they live is very like it's not modern.
Which makes
And
sense with Superman, how because his was very advanced. His was probably fired against a few centuries ahead of Earth.
yeah, and I mean, as far as he just grew up on Earth, but yeah, eventually he finds all the Kryptonian stuff, and I mean, his parents were scientists, and so yeah. But yeah, I mean, even Green Arrow will catch a body or
Yeah,
two.
he'll catch a few bodies.
Yeah. So Batman and Superman are usually the main ones who live by a hard rule of not killing people. But Superman finds a reason to not live that way anymore because Batman doesn't have, because it's hard to say if Batman would do that under the same circumstances, but whenever the Joker killed Robin, whenever he
Hmm.
killed Jason, if I'm Batman, that you got me.
Oh, you and Harley going out.
Yeah, you corrupted me.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
exactly.
Here's your
What
prize.
was that Batman that used to pack heat? That's what I would become.
And that's and that's the thing. In Flashpoint Paradox,
Yes.
it is Bruce who gets killed instead of the parents.
And his daddy, yeah.
Beat him with his hands. He said, "Come here. I need to put my hands on you." And again, if you lose a child, that is a pain that I don't know if can be matched.
It hits different. And it
It
makes me wonder if,
it
say, instead of this
actually hits different.
happening, say if Superman grew up with Batman's origin story, does he kill or does he not? Given his abilities, but just being raised a billionaire, Batman story, parents dying, all that.
I think that generally no, because again, one of Superman's powers is goodness, and usually, if we're looking at a standard version of Superman, he cherishes and values human life. Now, because one of the things that I wonder, Alfred don't have a problem putting people down. And so Batman was raised by somebody who does not have a problem putting people down,
That's
but
because Alfred
still,
got that military background.
that's what I'm saying. Alfred don't give a fuck. I would rather catch Batman than Alfred.
Because he'll do it calmly and yeah.
Alfred will put you
He
down.
moves like a mobster.
Yeah. Alfred is one of those people like you don't want those problems. Again, because Alfred, I mean, even in Gotham, um, there was an episode where somebody was like bullying Bruce, and so Alfred facilitated a situation where Bruce beat that kid's ass, and Alfred was like, "And don't let me catch you
Oh,
fucking with him again."
Gotham the show might have made my favorite Alfred.
I love that Alfred, but I've never seen a bad Alfred. Every
That's true.
single Alfred
That's
I've
true.
ever seen has been excellent,
That's
and
true.
yeah, like that. But
Commissioner
yeah,
Gordon too. Like Gotham's Commissioner Gordon. Yeah.
yeah, he was great. So yeah, Batman was raised by a killer and still didn't do that.
Not only was he raised by a killer, he went to go train with another killer.
He went to go train with the killers. They're the
The
league
killer
of
of killers.
the league of assassins. Like, yeah. So yeah. Anyway, um, knowing what's about to happen, Green Arrow's like, Harley, let me go ahead and get you. Because I know what happened to the Joker. I know what's gonna happen to you.
Which
You're
is
the
pretty
one,
compassionate, especially for Green Arrow.
yeah, you're the one who hit her with the hammer. So I know, like, there's not a question in my mind. I know for a fact you will die if I leave you out here because he is looking for you specifically. I know he's looking for you.
For
So
sure.
yeah, let me go get you. And then we see the big three, having the discussion. And Wonder Woman is like, nah, he need to die. And we need no. Superman made the right choice.
Why is, and that is one thing, Wonder Woman in this is blindly loyal to Superman, and it doesn't explain why really.
I think that it is a combination of her respecting him as the leader and her agreeing with him because she doesn't mind putting people down. Batman's whole philosophy is that we cannot be the ones to decide who dies. We
But she
cannot be,
agreed with those terms, and then now it's just she switched over with zero hesitation.
because she actually doesn't have a problem killing people. Like, I think that in her heart, some people got to die. Like, and I think that that comes from being a warrior.
Yeah,
Like, Superman
yeah.
and Batman are not warriors the same way Wonder Woman is.
Because even Aquaman opted out,
Yes.
which was probably the responsible thing to do, given your. To me, anyone souped up like that, you might have to like play no contest in this.
Yes. And yeah. But I think that Wonder Woman agreed so immediately because she sided with Superman so aggressively because she, in her heart, agreed with him. And we see when he steps over the line where she has a problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, like I think that Wonder Woman's very reasonable in this movie. Um, and I love Wonder Woman. I will ride for Wonder Woman. She's great. But um, they have that discussion, and Superman goes to the UN and says, I have decided that there will be no more war. Period. All war is over. I am canceling all war. All of it. And if any country has an issue with it, I will deal with it
I
personally.
was freaking cracking up with that. You will agree to these terms, or they will be agreed for you.
Yeah.
And he
You
just
will
sat Israel and Palestine next to each other.
Yeah, you will agree to these terms by choice or by force. It makes me not a bit of difference which, but this is what we doing.
And it worked.
Yes. If I have Superman standing over me telling me I'm going to do that because I know what's going to happen if I don't. If I saw the Joker's body, like if they showed that on anything, I'm like, yes, sir, whatever you say. Because that's just how it's got to be.
Really, once the nuke happens, we're at war.
Yeah.
With criminals.
Yeah. And so we see Superman and Wonder Woman both just like ending all conflict. Like we're not doing that. Like he goes to, I want to say it was Bialia. Yeah, he goes to Bialia and he's like, "Hey, the war's over." And the president's like, "You can't just come in here." Yes, the fuck I can. You got me confused with some goddamn body if you think that it's over.
And what I respect is he does it on both sides.
Oh yeah,
does it with the US as well. They didn't like Dr. Manhattan him where they're just like, okay, keep doing that as long as you're doing it to the ops.
but that's the thing. They tried that
They did.
and he wasn't that. And I loved that. So the League has a meeting, and that's where Aquaman, like Wonder Woman is trying to, defend the whole situation. And Aquaman is like, I'm not down with that. So I'm going to have to tender my resignation. And Plastic Man makes an excellent point. He says, I was a criminal for a while. It took me a minute to get here. It took me a minute to play the hero game, and I needed a lot of chances. What about somebody like me? Like I and Wonder Woman was
very valid.
Yeah, and she was like, I mean, the punishment will fit the crime. And Aquaman was like, who decides that? You do?
Exactly.
He does? Nah, I'm not
Especially with
that.
y'all's archaic ways. Like, could you imagine like going on trial and what's Wonder Woman's land called?
Themyscira.
Yeah, like imagine going on trial there.
Yeah, that's like in Themyscira, you can be put to death for being a man. Like you can be put to death for finding Themyscira.
It looked like one of the places that will stone you.
Yes,
as a punishment.
And you don't want to be stoned by Amazons.
Maybe you do, because it's just one quick throw.
Yeah, well, pow, you're done.
One throw that goes through you, and then it's a wrap.
I guess you're right. That's probably the ideal way to be stoned. Is like make it immediate. But, yeah, and then the Green Lantern, he's like, all three of us have been called back. Because I guess they saw what's happening and they were like, no, you don't need to be there. You need to leave. Like the Guardians were like, get the fuck off of Earth right now.
He's lucky he even got his ring back.
He's lucky he got his ring back because he might have not. If Superman didn't want him to have his ring back, he wouldn't. And so, yeah, that's when we see the room has a pretty hard divide. Like, there are a lot of people who firmly disagree with what's going on. And that's the whole point of the league. And so I appreciated the fact that most of the league was like, no, we're not cool with that. Because again, like that's what the league stands for. And
Now,
so if
what was Cyborg's justification?
I think Cyborg, I mean, I don't know if he just agreed with Superman or he was like, I'm picking the winning side.
Maybe that
But
was it, because I figured you know, with all the AI and you'd make one of the most analytical choices based on data, and they didn't really explain why.
but honestly, like Superman's who you go with statistically.
Yeah, yeah.
Like the only reason
If
you
you want to
don't
be
go
on a
with
winning, yeah, on a
yeah,
winning team.
you only don't go with Superman for moral reasons. But yeah, statistically, that's the choice. And Cyborg is usually pretty loyal to whoever is in charge. So sometimes we see that Cyborg is loyal to like the government.
Hmm.
Sometimes we see that Cyborg is loyal to Batman or he's loyal to the Teen Titans. Like Cyborg is pretty loyal, generally speaking. And so it didn't surprise me that Cyborg was loyal to Superman in this endeavor. And also, I think that a lot of people agreed with Superman because he hadn't started just killing innocents yet. I think
Yeah,
a lot of people saw the vision and agreed with what an ideal situation would be. In that Superman will relatively peacefully end all conflict. And anybody who goes against that, which means anybody who is trying to hurt innocent people or start wars, they will be dealt with because they need to be dealt with. So I think
if
this is a matter of agreeing with the intent.
yeah, and if Shazam goes with Batman, do we have a different? Uh, does that change things?
Yes. And yeah, there are a few again, there are some people that needed to be off the board because they affect things. Again, Martian Manhunter can hang with Superman a lot of days.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, the difference is are we looking at a Superman that has his mercy turned down or not? And we see that this Superman has his mercy turned down. So, like, there are a lot of people who actually cannot. Like, Adam really thought he could hang with Superman
Oh,
and
Buddy
got,
was like, we ran the algorithm. The government ran the algorithm.
yeah,
It's
like,
like
yeah, I ran some simulations and I can hang with him for a little bit. You got bitched. We
really
didn't even
fast.
see it. That's how quick it was.
The hero Superman took out was fast.
Yep.
And these aren't scrubs. This ain't Nightwing. These are, you know, respectable heroes
Yeah.
that he's taking out less than 30 seconds.
Yeah. The Atom is a real problem. And the Atom, I'm sorry, Captain Atom.
Captain Atom.
Yeah. Not the Atom in this case. But yeah. Captain Atom can hang with Superman. Like he's in that tier. But yeah, no, he got handled immediately. But Superman stops a US drone strike and the United States is like, what the fuck? Like it was fine when he was doing brown people, but no. Fuck you didn't know. He fucked with the like no, we don't do that.
And
You
they were gonna take out the whole building. They
yeah.
they're like, that's our target, and then they just aimed it at the building.
Yeah. And they're like, how many people were gonna die? A couple hundred, it's fine. But that's
Because if they would have sprayed machine guns or something, I think he probably would have looked the other way, or he would have that would have been along with what he wants to do. But they were overkilling.
yeah. And that's the thing. Superman said, we are not doing that. Nobody, I said all war, all of it. And so whenever the US sees that Superman is here, like rated E for everyone. They're like, we're not doing that shit. So they use Mirror Master to not only kidnap Jonathan Kent, but burn the house down. That's what was crazy to me.
And beat him up. Like,
Yeah.
what are y'all thinking?
They thought they were really sending a message. This is a classic example of y'all don't know who you fucking with. Y'all don't really understand what this is. Because
Mirror
the
Master has
US,
a really cool ability, though, I will say.
yes. And the US has that level of arrogance. And we've seen that in a couple comic book things. We see it in
Seen that in
Black Panther
history.
2. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But even in Black Panther 2, we see that the US and France try to steal vibranium from the Wakandans and it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And the Wakanda has to be like, so you got me confused with some goddamn body. Like, you are not the baddest one here. I know you think you are, but you're not. And this is another example of the US being used to being the baddest one in the room. And we are dealing with super shit.
Yes. Yes.
And I know you're not used to, I know that's new for you. It is not, the US is not used to not just doing whatever the fuck they want.
Y'all do until a Kal-El pops in y'all's way.
Yeah. And so this is a situation where Superman is like, they send the message and they say like, hey, um we have him and we will keep him. All you have to do is mind your fucking business. You can do whatever you want with whoever else. Do not fuck with USA.
In their head, what did they think was gonna happen? Like, they think he was gonna be like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Because my thought is, y'all don't have a way to stop him, let alone hurt him.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
if
it's not even a good plan.
Superman could have easily said, all right, and then gone to the White House, scooped up the president, and said, release Jonathan Kent or the
He ends up on
president.
Saturn.
Yeah, release Jonathan Kent or the president dies right now. There's
And there was nothing nobody could do.
nothing they could do, nothing anyone could do. But yeah, one of the things that
Maybe
the
it was
president,
desperation.
I mean, again, the US has a level of arrogance that is unmatched. So they really thought, oh yeah, we got him. He won't be messing with us anymore. So Wonder Woman is like, let me see what I can do. Let me go ahead and handle that for you. Let me be a good friend. And Wonder Woman came through. Wonder Woman got Raven to pull Mirror Master out because
That was a
Raven,
nice little cameo.
yeah, it was. And because I was wondering, like, he's Mirror Master, what are you going to do? Like, nobody else has that power. But yeah, Raven has some, you know, like when it comes to magic, you can kind of do whatever you want.
Some witchery, some
Witchery.
sorcery. Yeah.
And so, yeah, like she's got, uh, cosmic power. Like Raven can do whatever she wants. And so, yeah, Raven just went into the mirror dimension and got his ass.
And yeet.
And Wonder Woman was like, I wonder what happens if I shatter this mirror with you halfway through it. And Mirror Master was like, you wouldn't. And I was like, oh, you don't. I said, oh, you don't know who you fucking with.
Yeah,
You don't know
yeah.
who you fucking with.
He was
First of
finna
all,
get OB told.
yeah, like you have seen what Superman is doing, and you thought that Superman would never. Wonder Woman has always lived by the Wish Creed.
And she didn't even lose anybody. She's just doing this
She's a
for
warrior.
morality reasons.
She is a warrior. And Wonder Woman does not fucking play. And yeah, it was clear that he did not know that. Because again, he was just like, I was just following orders. I literally did what they told me to do. But yeah, so
So
Wonder
is he
Woman,
typically in a protagonist or antagonist in like comics and other stuff?
he is a Flash villain.
Okay.
So yeah, Mirror Master is typically directly associated with the Flash. He's a part of Flash's rogues gallery.
How does Flash even deal with him? Like, anyone in the physical realm, I don't know how they can deal with that.
I mean, super speed, but yeah, Yeah. Like, honestly, it's so funny. Whenever I think about it, I'm like, Flash, there's a problem. And it's like, run, Barry. And Barry's like, God damn it, that's the answer.
Every time.
Yeah, it's like, oh, but I can't do it. Run faster, Barry. By God, that's it. Like, the answer is run faster, Barry. Every time. And so, yeah, with Mirror Master, the answer is run faster. But, yeah. So, Superman, we don't even see Superman go into the mirror dimension. That's one thing that I will say about this movie. They had a tight runtime, so there are some scenes that I would like to have actually seen.
Because that would have been trippy and legit, and yeah.
Yeah, so this movie didn't have any dull moments, but it had to skip a lot to get us to the end. And
They,
so I think this would have benefited from being a part one, part two.
or adding
Or,
even an extra 30, 45 minutes, because its runtime's what, an hour and a half?
yeah, like these movies usually have to keep a tight, like at one point it was 75 minutes, but, and this one I think is also like hour 15, hour 20. So yeah, I think you're right. If this had been like an hour 50, we could have got a lot done.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so there are a couple of like that's one of the things that I wanted to see. I wanted to see Superman go into the mirror dimension, handle everybody in there, and get Jonathan out. And that would have been great. So Superman goes to the Batcave, and we see Nightwing and Robin sparring, and Nightwing, teaching him lessons, being an older
Yeah,
brother and all that.
man.
And Superman shows up, and they're both like, yeah, he's broodier than usual. And Superman is like, hey, I don't want to fight. I want us to be on the same side. I want you to stand with me when I go to Gotham and make this announcement. And Batman is like, no, I can't. I don't, I'm not with you on this. And Superman says, okay, that's how it's gotta be. That's how it's gotta be.
And to this point, to me, Superman still isn't tyrant yet.
Not yet.
He's riding the line.
He's
He's done
still,
some executive orders, but
yeah. And that's the thing. Batman's whole point was you start with one and then you descend into what ends up happening.
boy, was he right.
Yeah, like that was literally Batman's whole, like the lesson to learn, the whole reason that he won't go there, because he knows that once you're there, you're there. Like once that's just how it's got to be.
And he sees it because he's the hero that's closest to the street.
Yeah, like you can't unsalt water in this case. Like once there's salt in the water, there's salt in the water. It doesn't matter what else you put in that, there's salt in that water.
And he's broken arms for less.
Yes. And so, um, Superman announces, everybody in Arkham, the most dangerous criminals there ever were. I because and I'm not mad at Superman. Superman said, the reason we're here is because the Joker broke out of Arkham. And Arkham, along with being breakoutable, houses some of the most dangerous criminals that this city has ever seen.
Yep.
So I am going to move them to a secure location where they will not escape.
I didn't have a
Period.
problem with that. It was, Guantanamo Bay.
I 100% agreed with Superman on this. Because again, if the Joker, who's a normal human man, broke out, all these super motherfuckers can break out.
And
We're
if it
not
was Wonder Woman, they would have all been executed
all of them. They wouldn't have
at a
made it to Arkham.
Coliseum or something.
They would not have made it to Arkham. They would be dead.
So Superman is still showing compassion.
He's
It's
still
just
reasonable.
he's being stern.
Yeah, as far as we are concerned, he is still being reasonable. And so, of course, Batman and Nightwing show up, and he's like, oh, yeah, he's here exactly like you said he would be. And then it's revealed that Robin is actually on Superman's side because we see Robin saying to Batman, you are a stubborn old man. You will never, like, and of course,
Given his
Batman
history, that's well within character.
Batman is thinking, you were raised by Mr. Raz Al Ghul. You were raised to be a killer. So of course you agree with Superman. Like, but I'm not having this discussion with you right now. Like you and I have been working on redeeming you. Like we're getting there. We are making progress, but we're not there yet. So you are not mature enough to have this conversation. You're not there. So I'm not dealing with you right now. It doesn't surprise me that you have sided with Superman on this whenever they were in the Batcave. But whenever they were at Arkham, Batman was like, he was betrayed. Like, oh, you're actually with him.
You're
Oh,
acting this out. It's not just a debate anymore.
yeah, like you're standing over there with him and you told him we were coming. Like, what the fuck, Damien? And
And I
so,
think Damien's just there for the bodies. Whichever
I mean,
side includes catching bodies.
I mean, I
What?
mean, I don't disagree. Yeah,
Oh, the irony.
Damien and Jason are both like, no, we should kill some people. Like they're both like, hey, Bruce, hear me out. We can make these problems go away forever. All we gotta do, and of course, Batman's like, no, we're not doing that. But it's like, I mean, I'm just saying, we keep dealing with these same problems, and I know how to, fix them permanently. But okay. So Harley Quinn is able to release all the inmates because she was in the car with Green Arrow and she's able to knock him out with his own arrow.
And that's some Harley Quinn shit right there.
Yes, it
I'm
is.
gonna release the prisoners.
Yes. And so Batman and Superman are like, "Hey, we gotta handle this." And they both, nod heads and agree. All right, we're gonna put aside our differences for right now. And during that fight, we see that Robin does what he always does. Throws a baton at Damien or throws a baton at Nightwing.
Right in
And
temple.
Nightwing usually catches it, but he was kind of in the middle of a fight. And so, yeah, he gets like hit and dies. And once, that happens, Superman is like, all right, enough. Batman goes over there and it is not often that we actually get to see Batman experience the hurt
Yes.
as Batman.
It both as Batman and as Bruce. Like
Yeah.
we get both of that in this movie.
So Batman, he goes over there and
That face
Dam-
he makes is just distraught.
Damien is profusely apologizing because he's like, I swear I didn't mean to do it. He always blocked like that. That was not supposed to happen.
Damien can't go a movie without catching a body.
Yep. And Batman basically says, you killed my son. Get the fuck off me.
My real son.
Yeah, you killed my real son. How dare you? Because he said like, I thought you could be redeemed.
I was wrong.
I was wrong. And that, like, I know Damien, oh, his whole chest was burning when Batman said that to him.
And that's why you lean in like you
Yep.
did. And it's like, well, it's my father disowned me at this point, so I
Yeah.
got
Like,
nothing to lose to go join the winning side here.
yeah. So, yeah, Superman finds Catwoman and she's, doing some Catwoman shit. And Catwoman is like, you really don't like, there are wars going on. You worried about me stealing some shit? And he says, Nightwing is dead. He's going to need you. And Catwoman is like, you're his best friend. Go give him a hug. And not me.
It's too
I,
late.
Yeah, I can't do that. It has to, like I could be there for Batman.
He needs the cat.
Bruce needs somebody right now. And so
That
we
was very
see,
courteous him to do too, because
oh,
he could have
agreed.
just washed his hands from it all.
And that's the thing. He's not he's still a human. He's still friends with Bruce. Like he still respects him and loves him. Like that's we're not we haven't reached the level yet. And so and also Bruce hasn't really done anything. Like Bruce hasn't hurt his operation. Bruce hasn't really done anything yet.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
yeah, he's annoying and a little in the way, but like he hasn't really caused problems. So Superman
So both
disagree like
both are redeemable on the other in each other's eyes at
yeah,
this
like
point.
right now all it is a disagreement, but they still love and respect each other. And so Superman says to, and I'm sure that Superman figures, I know what it's like to lose a child at this point, and I don't want Batman to like. I didn't have Lois to be with me for my loss
Mm.
because she was a part of it. So he needs somebody like you. I don't want Batman to go through what I went through. I don't want him to turn into me. I don't want him to experience this. So he needs somebody. And nobody should go through anything close to what I went through. He has already lost his parents. He disowned his son because his first son would he needs
His
somebody right
second
now.
son killed his first son.
Yeah. So nah, he needs you have to go to him. It can't be me, but it's got to be you. And so she arrives and he's, punching like he's in Batman, like he's handling the way men do, punching walls.
I ain't never seen no man bleed through gloves.
Yep. And
I'm like, oh, his knuckle. He don't have knuckles at this point. He's just pushing
his
his
hand
knuckles around his hand.
his hand is already broken because he slapped Superman earlier and broke his shit. So his hands are already done.
So that fracture, yeah, that's done for.
Because
He's
he
out for the
hadn't healed.
season.
Because Superman said, I'm going to announce this tomorrow. So yeah, whenever Superman said, let me see your hand, it's like you broke your third finger. You should be fine after a couple weeks. Like that, because Superman did not flinch.
I wonder how Superman would diagnose this. He look at his hands and
Yeah. Superman is like,
you need new
you
hands.
need surgery. Yeah, like these hands are useless. But um yeah, Catwoman shows up and she's like, let me be your foundation. I will hold you up, but you are allowed to fall right now. Like you, and honestly, like I felt that.
That was very beautiful.
And I think maybe it's because I have a kid now, but like that whole scene, I felt that.
Yes, yes, that was beautifully written.
Yeah. But yeah, she says to him, like, come on,
And
you,
that might be the first time we really see Batman break down.
yes. Like yeah, because and I'm sure there are other times where we have seen him break down, but yeah, like this was ooh, like this he was a human man, and that is not usually how we see him.
And that's not how we see Catwoman. I feel like comic book Catwoman would have, been there hugging him and then grabbed his wallet while she's hugging him.
There are versions of Catwoman that would have done that, but I think that probably since the New 52, like Catwoman has been like she rides for Batman,
Gee,
and
God, he needed that.
yeah, because honestly, yeah, if she hadn't showed up, I don't know what we get.
Bruce would be in Arkham.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I truly don't know what happens if Catwoman is not there for him. So, yeah, like she allows him to feel that and
Which he
to have
needed
it.
to, because if not,
He
he's gonna be breaking arms for parking tickets.
he needed that. And we see that because I don't know if you saw in Spider-Man No Way Home, Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man says, after Gwen died, I stopped pulling my punches. And it got ugly. And I was in a dark place. And I'm like, yes. And I want to see that movie. But yeah. And we
And
see,
that's with no black costume. That's just
yeah.
refuge.
Yeah, that's without, yeah, without the Venom suit. That, yeah, just pure. And we see Tom Holland's Spider-Man, like once Aunt May dies, he was going to put Green Goblin down. He
Remember
was,
we were talking about that spectrum? Goblin is right behind Joker in that same side of
yeah,
the spectrum.
yeah, he's in the same region of like, oh, you're kind of crazy that should not exist in real life. But yeah, again, Spider-Man, if it wasn't for another Spider-Man, Green Goblin would have died.
Oh yeah.
And so very similarly, yeah, I think that yeah, Batman would have people wouldn't have made it to the hospital. But yeah, it's hard to say. But in this universe, yeah, I think I think it's a good thing because what could have happened is Batman could have decided, just like Superman said, some people got to die.
Mm-hmm.
Batman could have made that decision for Superman. And so Batman could have decided Superman's got to die. And, with what the Joker was able to get done, Batman would have
Yeah,
been
he
able
can
to.
get the job done. The difference is though, it Batman going rogue is much easier to catch. Like the government can catch Batman if they try it hard enough.
Eh, not if he doesn't want him to. But and yeah, it's hard to say what would have happened, but it's probably I think that another reason that didn't happen is because Superman went and got Selena.
Yeah.
Because yeah, like that had to happen. Because yeah, I'm that scene was powerful to me.
On both ends, like I said, it showed Catwoman's character and it showed Superman's,
Mm-hmm.
and it let you know that like Superman is still inside there.
Yes, like
Because
super.
up to this point, I don't know if I disagreed with his actions up to this point thus far.
That's the thing. There are, for the most part, you're like, nah, I fucks with you. And there was a turn, like a hard heel turn,
Yeah,
and we'll talk
yeah.
about that. But yeah, like that's the thing where Wonder Woman was like, oh, that. So yeah, but Nightwing meets Ramakrishna, and she's basically like, "Hey, you're Dead Man now." Now, Dead Man, I don't know if you're familiar with Dead Man, but he's usually associated with like the magic side of DC. So, Constantine, Zatanna, Swamp Thing, like them.
So, and that's what was confusing because there's Dead Man, and I think she referred to him as Dead Wing.
Yes. So, Dead Man is based like he's just a guy that is given powers by Ramakrishna, and so that's like that could be given to anybody. And so this is a case where Dick Grayson was selected instead of Boston, who's Dead Man. And, he was
Mm.
selected so that he could, get revenge for his killer. But
Because I
yeah,
didn't know if Dead Wing was a real character. I'd heard of
no,
Dead Man, but
yeah, no, Deadwing only for this.
I gotcha. And that
And
I didn't expect any of that. That whole LSD trip, yeah.
yeah,
I was like, where is this going? I thought it was like a flash. We weren't gonna see him again.
yeah. And, that's one thing I liked about this movie is like when people died, they died for the
Yes.
most part.
Yes.
Mainly with Flash. Like we did not see him again.
No. They didn't
So
even mourn him really.
no, like we didn't see. And again, that's something that I wish we would have been able to see if the movie had been a little longer. Was like actually dealing with the fact that Flash died, but they weren't able to.
He died. Hal Jordan's self-esteem died. Yeah.
Yep. So Robin is at the League of Shadows, and Robin is like, "Hey, with my dad, you're gonna need help, and no, who better than grandfather?" And Raish is like, "Yeah, I got exactly what you need." And Superman is like, "Your organization is called the League of Assassins." Absolutely not. And so, as you said, he's still in the green. We haven't moved over yet. But
Little by
again,
little.
yeah, little by little, slowly. It's not always immediate. A heel turn doesn't always happen instantly. A heel turn is usually gradual,
The good
and
ones.
and that's why it's called a turn, because yeah, like it takes some time to get there. So
Very few people just snap.
yes, exactly. It does happen, but not often. And the snapping is, what he did to the Joker, but yeah, he's still a reasonable dictator
I
so
don't even
far.
think that was snapping because it
Agreed. For me, it was not.
he thoroughly explained it. It wasn't like a I was heating the moment. He No, he was just like, you let this guy go, he's killing these people.
Yeah. So he goes to Mr. Terrific. And earlier in the movie, we see that Mr. Terrific is, looking at the whole multiverse thing.
Yep.
And, or matter of fact, this might have been when he was doing that. But yeah, they start playing chess. And the chess game is going the same way the conversation goes.
Yep.
Whenever Superman is making points, check. Whenever Mr. Terrific starts making points, check. Check. Checkmate. Because Mr. Terrific kind of, goes into the same conversation that was had a little bit earlier, like the what under what circumstances, like who
It
makes
does
the
it in such
decision.
a beautiful way. It's such a sarcastic way. I loved it.
Yeah, because yeah, he goes into a lot of examples. It's like, have you thought about this? What about this? And I'm like, yep, these are all really good
Oh, that
points.
gray area, those little slippery slopes.
Yep. And so he's like, hell no, you can't have more T spheres. Because yeah,
Which
Superman
which
says like,
explain exactly what that is.
so Mr. Terrific is one of the most intelligent people on Earth in DC, and he uses this invention that he has called T spheres to basically do anything he needs to do. And so he uses them to fight, he uses them to monitor. They're just his, you know, technology items that he has complete control of, and he can make them do whatever he needs to do. And like they're his signature thing. And Superman was using them pretty much as surveillance drones to monitor everything because he can't be everywhere at once. And that's why he says, I need more of them to, monitor things. And so, yeah. In the Arrow show,
Mhm.
Mr. Terrific ends up being one of the tech people that helps Arrow, get a lot done. He's not necessarily the man in the chair, but he does a lot of inventing, and he's able
Mm.
to, use technology, uh, for his own benefit.
Because I was curious why Superman just didn't go to Cyborg for that.
Yeah, and we see that Cyborg is the one who deploys them later. But yeah, like Mr. Terrific is the one who invented those. So, uh, Batman puts together a team and he's like, hey, we gotta stop Superman. He has a red sun cannon. It's in the Fortress of Solitude. And Catwoman is like, ooh, I like a challenge. Uh, because everybody's like, that sounds impossible to do. And he's like, no, not really. It's doable. And of course, Catwoman being there is, yeah. And they're like, Harley, you're not coming.
You're a
You're crazy.
liability.
You're a liability. You're not coming. So, um, he says to the US military, hey, I need y'all to, do some stuff so that we are unbothered. And again, this is when Captain Atom is like, I can take care, I can stall him if I need to.
So arrogantly too.
Yeah, because in his mind, he can. He thinks that he is powerful enough to hang with Superman because the simulations told him that he could.
And the fact that it didn't even show it was just it was disrespectfully one-sided, so one-sided that they didn't even bother to draw it.
It wasn't even worth the time to draw. Like, that's how quickly he got dealt with.
And granted, they drew the 10 seconds of him snatching Buddy's ring off, but they
Yep,
were like, this isn't even worth drawing.
not even worth the time. And so, yeah, his altercation with Green Lantern, like his fight with Adam may have been shorter than that. Like that whole altercation. Captain Adam. Um, the Adam,
Oh gosh, and his wasn't very much longer either.
yeah. And one of the things I'm like, so you're telling me that the Atom was able to get into Superman's
To do
brain
this the whole time.
through his ear, but Superman has super hearing. Superman
Mm,
Superman would have heard him go into his ear.
I
And
wonder how small, you know,
and I'm wondering when the Atom did that
when that occurred.
because if he was there that whole because there was a specific moment when Superman's head started hurting basically.
Hmm.
And I'm like, so did the Atom just now get in there or has he been in there this whole time but when he holds up like how what are we doing?
And
That
if you in there, just you might as well. Do you know where you're going, navigating through this brain, or are you just winging it?
no, I think he does because like he's a scientist and so I'm sure that I'd be surprised if he wasn't very familiar with being inside of a person for that reason. Like I'm sure he knows exactly how the human body works, where everything is. Like that's what I would assume.
He knows which
Mainly,
neurons to pull and trigger, and
yeah, mainly because he's a doctor. But yeah, like I would think that he has studied that extensively. And so, um they're preparing to get the Red Sun cannon and Raish shows up, destroys the thing, and then is prepared for the Atom somehow. And maybe Damien knew what was going on. I don't know. But he
Ray's for
basically
the short amount of time he's been there has been a problem.
Raish is a problem. There's a reason like he runs the arguably the most successful assassin group on Earth, and Raish is the kind of villain who topples governments, and he does like proper world domination.
Yes.
Like he has because he's lived for hundreds of years, like he's got a fortune that dwarfs a lot of billionaires. Um and yeah, like he's too much.
He's like the closest to like the Illuminati of the
It,
universe, outside of like the Court of Owls.
yes, and that's the thing. Court of Owls is small scale compared to Raish. So, yeah. Uh like Raish and Vandal Savage just through being alive for as long as they have, they're big dogs when it comes to world domination. And so like they're like you refer to them as a syndicate
And slightly unhinged though, because if I recall, Lazarus Pit, you lose a little bit. You
every
come
time.
back like 99% each time.
Every time. And it usually depends. If you are using the Lazarus Pit to stay young, you might lose like 5% of your faculties. If you get revived from death, it's you come back 50%.
Yeah, yeah.
And so
We got a question if you was worth you coming back.
yeah, like so he's been, using it for a long time, but yeah, he's a madman because that comes with, you know, uh the waters of the Lazarus pit. But yeah, like if you're actually dead and you are revived with the Lazarus pit, you're not right. Like something's off. Like something is very clearly off. And
Yeah.
so he's able to use basically a nerve gas to purge the atom and I guess also purge the kryptonite.
Which that's convenient.
Yes, yes it is, but the movie's got to happen.
And
And
when you say purge, that's being kind. Uh Buddy was disintegrated.
yes, he was. There was nothing left. Like
It's like he wasn't even there.
he was never there.
And in
Yeah.
fact, it had zero impact on Superman.
And that's because Superman, you know, he's too much. But yeah, like he dissolved. Like there's no evidence that he was ever there. He is gone. So yeah. Um, so the Green Arrow, you know, pulls out, you know, the kryptonite arrow, and he's like, please don't make me do this. And so he lets that thing off. Superman deflects it, but he deflects it into Jonathan Kent. And one of the things I forgot to mention, whenever Batman finds that Jonathan Kent is there, Batman is immediately like, oh shit, you're not supposed to be here. Because
Batman
if
does that a lot this movie. There's a lot of Batman oh shit moments.
that's what the movie is. And a lot of that, I think, has to do with the fact that Superman is acting out of character. Because Batman, the Superman that Batman knows, is not really here anymore. And so Batman, this is
Especially
not a
after this
Superman.
occurs.
Yeah, this is not a Superman that Batman is fully prepared for ever. And that
Ever.
shows. Because, yeah, like
Ever.
again, this Superman is different. And Batman, we see at the beginning of the movie that Batman was never prepared for Superman to become this. Because Batman says to the Joker, oh, you've got the wrong one. He's a
Yeah.
better man than me. You can't break him. And then he gets broken. And Batman, that's the first, oh shit, is when he puts his hand through the Joker. And so now Batman is like, well, that wasn't supposed to happen.
And I think because if I recall, a bunch of Batmans always have like the protocol for each hero if stuff hits the fan.
Correct.
This movie made me realize that I'm sure Batman had something like that. If he does, it's not because he thinks that Superman will be corrupted. It's more so I wonder if he thinks that he would be controlled or taken over or something.
That is usually why Batman has the contingency plans, is so that if mind control is an issue, he can neutralize whoever.
Yeah.
Because he would figure there's no way that Superman would do this on his own. So yeah, if somebody is able to get control of Superman's mind, I need to be able to subdue Superman's body, is the way I look
Which
at
makes
it.
sense.
So yeah. And so yeah. And of course, you know, because Batman is still living by his code, he will not kill Superman. And when he gave Green Arrow the kryptonite arrow, in my head, I was like, Green Arrow might, if he
Yeah,
has to.
yeah.
And
That
so,
wasn't the one to do because he's right below Wonder Woman.
yeah. So, um, we see that Jonathan Kent is there. And again, Batman is like, oh shit, you're not supposed to be here. Because you being here, Superman is already in enough mode. But if Superman thinks that we're trying to do what the government did by like, if Superman thinks we're here for you,
That's another problem on top of the problem that exists.
yeah, that's not good. And luckily, Jonathan Kent is there to say, hey, I'm fine. They didn't hurt me. Everything's good. So Superman doesn't immediately laser everyone.
Even though the government did, they basically jumped this dude.
They did. But Batman deduced that the president was behind it. But I'm like, why the fuck are you talking about it? He has super hearing. He might be
Yeah,
listening to y'all right
yeah.
now. But the movie,
And how did Batman get in the White House?
he's Batman. That's he's Batman. That's going to be the answer to that. In reality, I have no idea. I don't understand how Batman was able to do a Batman to Superman who has super hearing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Batman, there's no way that you could have gotten out of Superman's sight without him hearing you because he has super hearing.
I think we've been lied to all along. Batman really does have superpowers.
Yes, that is correct. But yeah, like Batman, I think if any superpower he can phase through walls and
Yes.
floors because he be inside rooms and it's like how the fuck did you get in here?
And out.
Yeah, and nobody because on a rooftop whatever. But like yeah, he ended up in the Oval Office just behind the president. Or whenever they were in that warehouse, he got out of the warehouse without Superman hearing him or seeing him or anything. Yes.
It's that Ra's al Ghul training right there.
Yes. He has teleportation. He got that shit Yellow Flash has.
Oh gosh, Yellow Flash is. Well, it's Yellow Flash. Is that considered Reverse Flash, or is that a different?
No, I meant Minato.
Oh,
All right,
because
he's
I
got
thought you meant it. I was like, Reverse Flash is a problem.
Reverse Flash is a problem. Yeah, like
He's
that's a
on that
different.
spectrum too.
He is too. Yeah, he's on that same like he's a different kind of hater. But um, so anyway, they figure if Superman thinks we're here for Jonathan, it's not going to be good. So luckily, he's able to say, "Hey, no, we're good. Everything's fine." Raish comes in, handles the cannon, handles the atom. Uh, Green Arrow shoots the kryptonite arrow, and he deflects it into Jonathan Kent, which kills him. And even though that is Superman's fault, Superman
Don't see it
immediately
that way.
lasers. Yeah, Superman just lasers Green Arrow. And Batman is like, everybody get out. Like, we have to leave.
That's when he's like, run.
Yeah, run. Yeah, we have to leave. Because, yeah, there's nothing subduing him. We have to leave. He could laser all of us right now, and there would be nothing we could do. So honestly, that was a situation where Superman allowed y'all to leave.
Yeah. And now
And
we're on our third body.
yeah.
Yeah.
And again, that was very nice of Superman because Superman could have just captured everybody right then. Because Superman makes an announcement later that basically says, hey, I have decided that there will be no more crime. And then they pull out the T spheres. And he says, and anyone who stands against me will get got too.
Registration Act is what it's given.
Yeah. Anybody who is not with me, you can get some too. That's just how it's got to be. Like you're a fugitive if you don't stand with me.
Bush
So,
once said, "You're either with us or with the terrorists."
yeah. And that's what this is. Yeah. He said, you're with me or you're with Al Qaeda. Those are your options. So Superman, there's some young kids having a rave, flashing lights and shit,
Oh my gosh.
and Superman, you know, shows up and he basically says, "You would twerk in his name," and
Heathens.
yeah, the kids are like, "You're a fascist." Superman's
Kids are
like,
always going to be naturally contrarians.
"Yes, yes, every generation has them," and Superman is like, y'all are twerking in his name. And this is when the heel turn is complete.
Yeah, this is now we're dealing with Homelander.
Yeah. This is when he's like, I'm fucking done. And he lasers those children who have broken no laws. All they did was wear some clown makeup.
He lasers the
And
house. He lasers so hard. He lasers outside at the house. Like it. He might have hit a plane or two.
yeah, like he lasers through the building. Like he takes chunks off of it. And Batman is kind of like, dear God. Like Batman again, he shooketh because he was like, oh, I wasn't ready for that. I wasn't
He
ready for
probably feels
Superman.
guilty because like this is your villain. This wasn't Wonder Woman's villain or Aquaman. This was your guy.
But Batman was trying to do it the right way. And yeah. So um he's like, all right, this police state, we can't do that. We got to get rid of these T spheres. And the only way to do that is to free Mr. Terrific because the technology is too advanced for me. And I appreciate that because, yeah, it would be. So, because Batman, he can get a lot done. He knows a lot. He understands a lot. He's a very smart man. But yeah, Mr.
He
Terrific
knows his
is,
limitations.
yeah, Mr. Terrific is at a different level. And this movie acknowledges that. Like, Batman is like, I can't revert. This is above me. I can't. We got to get him to do this,
So who comes up with the plan?
to go get him.
No, no, after like I guess later on the what occurs with the time and all of that. Was that Mr. Terrific's idea or Batman's idea?
To go get people from other Earths.
Yes.
It was Mr. Terrific's idea because earlier we see Mr. Terrific messing around with the multiverse. And
Mm.
they plant that seed so that we have that.
Because I knew that I thought it was more so that was showing it was capable. I didn't know if Batman was the mastermind behind this or if this was like Mr. Terrific was like, I have a suggestion that will work.
Yeah. And I think that's what it was because I don't think Batman was there when Mr. Terrific was like exploring multiverses, but
Mm.
Batman said we need Mr. Terrific because the T spheres are a problem.
Yeah.
So that's why we're going to get him. Once we have him and he's able to, deal with the T spheres, we can discuss what to do from there. But I think that Mr. Terrific probably said, hey, this is what we can do. And Batman devised a plan at that point. So I think Batman put the whole plan together after Mr. Terrific said, hey, multiverse. So he he
And
said,
to me, anytime you're pulling out multiverse, that's desperation. Like
yes,
anytime you got to do that to fight a villain, that's the villain won in my book.
correct. Because you are saying there is no one here that can handle this. No one.
You're saying I have to change reality to win. Like
Yes.
I have to like literally science this shit to win.
Yeah. I have to literally fight fire with fire. I have to go get the same guy, a different version of the same person, because nobody here can deal with it. And so they plan to get Mr. Terrific, and Batman is able to figure out, okay, so basically, there's an underwater fortress, and the only way to get there is through boom tubes, which Cyborg opens. So there are no doors. So the pressure down there would kill any of us. Like none of us can get down there. Like that's how
Yep.
deep it is. And there are no doors. So because basically Cyborg teleports anybody in or out. So we're going to need somebody who can deal with that. And that is Plastic Man, who, has been there the whole time. And Batman says, like, Plastic Man, oh, yeah, he's been hiding out for a while
In the chair, just chilling
as the chair, which,
like Quagmire.
like Quagmire. That's, yeah. And so, um, Plastic Man is able to get in there. And Cyborg immediately is like, hey, stop it. You can't break in. And Plastic Man is like, oh, look, I found a key. Because Plastic Man is one of those people, like, he's broken. He can do whatever he wants. And there are a lot of characters that are like, I don't want problems with Plastic Man. Like, he's one of those people, like, yeah, he can do whatever he wants.
Ability
And is
wise, would
pretty
you say
unkillable.
he's up there with Mr. Fantastic?
Oh, he's way better than Mr. Fantastic. Like, I don't think Mr. Fantastic is able to do the shit that Plastic Man can do.
Mm.
So, yeah. Um, he's able to get Mr. Terrific out, and he's like, "You have a plan to get us out of here, right?" And he's like, "No, no, no, you have. What do you mean? Like, I thought you had the plan, but I thought you had the plan." So they're both, not sure how they're going to do this. And Mr. Terrific says, "You're going to have to break the glass." Cyborg teleports in, and luckily, Deadwing is there. And so Mr. Terrific says, "You're going to have to blow a hole in the thing." Now, let me just say this: everybody at that prison is dead except for Cyborg, Mr. Terrific, and Plastic Man. Everybody else died.
Yeah.
Everybody else died because they mentioned that they were so deep that the water pressure would kill any human. So, P.S., along with that, you busted a hole in here, and so the entire facility is now full of water. And most
And
of these
we could
villains,
argue how does Cyborg survive this, one could argue.
Cyborg teleported out.
Okay, yeah. I forgot, yeah. Because I was like, there's no way he's with electricity. Yeah, no.
Yeah. Like that again, that's what I decided is that Cyborg just boom tubed out of there. And that's why, he lived. But yeah. Um, they get Mr. Terrific out because Mr. Terrific happens to have like a fucking ship attached to him or whatever. And Batman plays the footage of the rave, and Wonder Woman is like, "Oh my God.
That's the line.
Like you killed those children."
Killing younglings.
And Superman is like, "I killed those children because they were animals." And Wonder Woman at that point is like, I don't like that. I don't like that one bit." So Raish unveils a Mazo and is like, he adapts to anything. And
And I'm like, you just
imagine,
been sitting on this thing this whole time?
well, he was in the process of building him, I think. And usually T.O. Morrow is the one who builds a Mazo. But Raish has him, and Raish says, "We could have one of these in every city, protecting it because you can't be everywhere at once, and obviously the T spheres aren't doing it. So yeah, let's get some Amazos." And again, the heel turn is complete because Superman is like, let's test it out. Earlier in the movie, Superman was like, "No, Raish, I don't fuck with you
Yep.
because you are a villain. I will not work with a villain." And
Now
we're
you're
not
using the villain's technology.
now we're at like the all right, go ahead and show it to me. Show it to me in a small city.
That Elon Trump relationship.
So Amazo Amazo sees a guy litter and just starts laying waste to this small town. And Superman is like, "God, Amazo, stop it. That's not what we're here for." And Raish is like, "Oh, Superman, I got something for you." Amazo copies powers. So Amazo about to beat your ass. This house got to be.
Anyone in the way, really.
Yeah,
It wouldn't matter who's in the way.
it wouldn't have. And Amazo is giving Superman some problems because Amazo is equal in strength to Superman and equal in mercilessness. And that's the kicker. Is this is a Superman who is not holding back. And that is why he's able to almost immediately deal with every hero that he goes up against. But Amazo doesn't have that problem. Amazo's going full tilt just like Superman is.
And the fact that he was just made, like there was no mythical origin. He was just made.
Yes, he was built in a lab. And so Wonder Woman, Cyborg, and Hawkman show up to try to, deal with the Amazo problem. But
Yeah.
we see pretty immediately, because this is a movie where we know folks can die. We know people are getting got. And one of the things that I noticed immediately, I was like, what the fuck is Hawkman going to do if Amazo already has Superman powers?
Right.
And Amazo answered that question for me. Amazo put Hawkman down very immediately.
He was literally written in there to die.
Yes, he was. And I was like, honestly, that's what I want. That's how that should have gone. That was, yep.
That's
That's
realistic.
that's
Again, that's how it.
correct.
Yeah, that's him snatching the ring. It's that
Yeah.
same. This is that same universe.
Yeah. Like that's yeah. Thank you for that. Because I'm the person who would have said, how the fuck is Hawkman still alive? How is he lasting this long? He didn't. And so yeah, Cyborg puts up a little bit of a fight. Cyborg, rips the skin off of him at least. But yeah, Cyborg also gets got. He didn't have to pull his little metal face off.
Yeah, that was no.
That was disrespectful. Because there was like chunks of flesh on it. I was like,
It seems like
oh,
every time like Cyborg gets hurt or destroyed, it never looks pretty with
oh
him.
no, never.
And I don't know if it's the wires. I don't.
It's the
It
fact
just
that he's a
never looks good.
it's the fact that he's a cyborg. So, because one of the things that I always say is like, you can dismember the fuck out of a robot all day long. And that's why he always gets his legs ripped off, his arm. Like, that's why he gets pieced up. Because since he's a robot, he won't bleed in those places.
I think it just always looks bad though, because we still see that human face.
Yes, he's still a person in his face, and he still feels the pain. Because, yeah, in a Mortal Kombat situation, yeah, we're getting flesh ripped off. But I think the reason that you can do that with Cyborg, because sometimes Cyborg will get his arm ripped off, but then he'll just reattach it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like with Cyborg, you can do that because when it
You can
comes
go
to,
full Terminator.
yeah, when it comes to robots, yeah, you can dismember a robot and it's fine because there's no blood. And so, yeah, he gets, done real dirty by Amazo, which is exactly how that's going to go. And so Batman and the squad show up and, they start, trying to help out. Meanwhile, Robin is fighting Raish. And Raish is basically like, I thought I had a successor, but guess not.
A little
And
change of heart.
yeah, Raish don't give a fuck because he's awful. And luckily, Deadwing shows up and is like, I'm here to assist. And if I'm Deadwing, I'm taking over Raish's body,
Yeah,
not
I'm like, if I'm
Damien.
dead, man, Raja goes the last thing. I'm. You got bigger fish to fry here, because
But
and it didn't really explain his omnipotency.
well, I mean, Dead Man, yeah, like he kind of just is a ghost who can possess people. That's the gist. But again, in that situation, I would possess Raish and then make Raish stop fighting and shut down Amazo or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't think possessing Robin made sense to me. But, I think that it had to be a situation where they could meet again.
yeah. He needed some redemption.
Yeah. And, he was able to do the I'm so sorry. Um, please forgive me. He's like, oh, yeah, I already did that. Because I'm sure that Dick was probably like, God damn it. I should have blocked that.
It's just
But
like you said, he was a little preoccupied.
yeah, I mean, he was doing stuff.
And you play too much, like, bro. We're in the middle of something here. Like, we're all
Yeah.
dealing with Superman possibly, and you want to
Yeah.
troll.
We're dealing with Arkham villains. Like these are the worst of the worst. There's a reason Superman is sending them to Supermax. And yeah. But anyway, um with Deadwing's help, Robin is able to defeat Raish, and the squad is able to defeat Amazo, and luckily there was only one of him. But Mr. Terrific, he starts, setting up the squares and uh he creates basically a portal cube to go to other Earths.
Tesseract.
It did look exactly like the Tesseract. Um, and so he goes and he explains the situation, which I also wish we could have seen. Like, that's another thing. Like, if
Yes, how
there'd have
that
been more
conversation
runtime,
goes.
yeah, like I
Yeah.
want to see him because I want to see him go to multiple Earths. I want to see him go to the wrong Earth and be like, oh shit, never mind. Like, yeah,
I just imagine it being like the Deadpool scene when he's like looking for the right Wolverine.
yes, that would have been like, and not that comedic, but yeah, like
Yeah.
some of that. Some of like he goes to see the crime syndicate and like he runs into Ultraman and it's like, oh no, not here. He ends up on one of the Earths where there's like nobody, like there are no humans left. Yeah, I wanted to see that journey,
Yeah. That would have been a whole that would have been nice.
but um,
They gotta keep it at that 1 hour 30, you know.
yeah, we had to keep a tight 75 minutes, and so he comes back with a Superman who's dressed more like we're used to, and they fight, and the evil Superman is like, I know your secret. You're holding back, and starts beating his ass. And so Mr. Terrific goes to get a pregnant Lois. And
Plan B.
yeah,
No pun intended.
plan B. Yes, indeed. That's funny. So, she, comes, they have a little talk, and he's like, all right, through the power of friendship, I surrender. And I was like, yeah, that's what it had to be. Because that's what it took for him to realize like the error of his ways. And he's like, I will, because Batman says, we are in the process of building a red sun room for you. And Superman's like, don't worry, I won't try to break out. And I'm like, yeah, but no, we're going to
Yeah,
finish
yeah,
that
I'm
red
like,
sun
yeah,
room.
yeah, we're gonna finish that room.
We're
Like
going to
even
finish
if
that
there's a
room for you
1% chance. Yep.
because I didn't think you were going to get, I wasn't ready for this. So no, we going to finish that room. Don't you worry.
And he could have we don't know what we're dealing with. He could have easily been like, this isn't my Lois and chop her head off.
Yes. He could have been like, since you don't have a Clark,
You can
but
go join your Clark.
yeah, yeah, like tell Lois I said hello. But, even though he's in a full heel turn, he's still Superman, which is why they're pretty sure because I whenever Superman was like, "Was this your plan? You thought you were just going to get some big?" Yes. And then yeah, a pregnant Lois walks out and good and pregnant.
Now, was that a part one and part was that all one plan or was that the backup for that plan? Like, was it like, okay, you will stall him while we get time to get Lois, or was that like,
I think
if this
Lois
don't
was
work?
I think Lois was plan B. I think that Superman was supposed to defeat Superman, or Batman figured like, a that's a long shot that
Because I calculated a standstill at best. Like it,
yeah, but yeah, they get a Lois, and luckily that worked because that could have not worked, but it did. And I'm sure that they figured it will take me a lot longer to find a Lois than it will take me to find a Superman. So, and especially a pregnant Lois, if that's what we're doing. But I had to find a pregnant Lois that didn't have her Clark.
yeah, he done hop through some. He pulled a Doctor Strange running that math.
Yeah. So I'm sure that yeah, like we got a Superman to stall because finding the Lois like that's plan A, but that's gonna take a minute. So let's buy ourselves some time. The only way we've seen the only way to do that is to get another Superman because the Atom can't or yeah, Captain Atom ain't bad enough to handle it.
And he's snatching rings.
Yeah. Also, where was Lex in this movie? But that's fine. So
Yeah, Lex wouldn't have. One thing I will give Lex, this would not have gotten this far.
no. Lex would have been monologuing all movie and been like,
Yeah,
I told you, mother. Like, yeah. Lex would have spent the movie
because Lex is
running.
waiting for this. Like Lex is waiting for Superman to break.
This is exactly what Lex is talking about. When Lex is talking all that shit, like this moment is like Lex is saying like this right here. This is exactly why I am the way I am. This shit right here.
Because he's
So
only really like that with Superman. Like, other than that, yeah, he's a crude businessman, but
I
he's
think I think that it's two things. It's a proximity thing because Superman is who's nearby. Like he's looking at Superman because he's in Metropolis. So Superman is who he sees all the time. But also, as far as he's concerned, Superman is number one. Like Superman is the guy. It's an
yeah.
obsession, but also I think that if Lex thought there was anybody that was better than Superman, that might be who he's focused on. But because, as far as he's concerned, Superman is he's number one. Like
But
he
there's a
is the
few of
alien.
them joints. You got like Captain Atom, you got
Yes. And that's the thing.
Aquaman. There's a few that could like really cause problems to your city.
Yes. But I think because Superman is there, and B, as far as Lex is concerned, I'm sure Lex figures none of y'all can beat Superman. So like he's number one. I will deal with the rest of y'all once I've dealt with him.
I'm going straight to the top. And he's not. He wasn't born here. Like
Mm-hmm.
he's yeah. He probably. I don't think he humanizes Clark.
As far as he's concerned, yeah, like he's an alien, and sometimes he considers him a god. So like, yeah, Lex's obsession is it varies, but yeah, so they are able to win the day. Superman gives up, and Batman is like, I don't know how we move forward, but Catwoman, come here. And that's the movie.
Sense.
Yeah. So, uh, scale of 1 to 10, what are you thinking?
This is. I just like. I do wish there was a little more time. If there was like an extended cut version, that'd be amazing. But this, the pacing, the story, it's a really good. Gosh, it's epic. I give it a solid. I give it a solid 8.5.
I agree. It's an 8.5 for me. And I think that there are just a few things that are missing from it. That are potentially missing from it. I don't think
Yeah.
that it is missing anything, but I think it could have benefited from more time to cook.
Yes. Yes. Small improvement. What is the main thing that you wish if the director was like 15 more minutes, what would you have added?
I think that the main thing, let me think about that because there are there are a few things. Again, I would have wanted to see Mr. Terrific actually going to the Earths.
It kind of
I
ruins the, I guess, the surprise though.
Yeah, but I mean, I of course I knew what he was doing, but um I would like to, and maybe whenever Lois walks out, that's when we see a flashback of Mr. Terrific doing that. But
That yeah, that
um
would have been perfect.
I okay, I got it. I think I wanted to see, like, if I had to pick one thing to see, it's Superman going to the mirror dimension to find his dad. I think that's the one.
That's a whole movie.
Yeah. And I'm sure he wasn't in there for very long, but yeah, I wanted to see Superman put on that belt, go in the mirror dimension,
Because
and
visually, that would have looked really cool.
yeah, I wanted to see the mirror dimension. I wanted to see who was in there, where Jonathan Kent was being killed. Yeah, all that. Um, because I also wanted to see the fight between Superman and Captain Atom, but I feel like that wasn't worth the time to draw.
That would be the only thing I would add, just because surely he did a better job than Green Lantern, but with them not even writing it, it makes me wonder. But it on paper, you would think he'd be the bigger threat.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like he was probably able to. Well, I don't know because I would like to think he was able to give Superman a little bit of a challenge, but he may not have been able to been. So yeah, um, I think if I had to pick anything, it would be that. Um, so yeah. What about you?
Yeah. Probably just that fight with even if it was 20 seconds, but just to see him physically just manhandle another Justice League member, you can't get enough of that.
Yeah, I'm always there for that.
And
Okay.
to physically see Flash dead probably would have been nice.
Yeah, we just see
So then
blood
I went in the
splatter.
back of my head like, oh, and Flash is ran back in time to go get Lois or something. Nah, you know.
Now he's dead. So
But
okay.
that's it. Other than that, like you said, it's not perfect, but it's very good, very easy to watch for someone who's really not familiar with this world. I think it's an easy one for people to watch.
Yeah. And because it's an alternate universe, yeah, like it can just be its
Essentially
own.
one of one.
Yeah. And I love that DC is willing to do that. Like I like that DC is willing to say, yes, we have a continued ongoing universe, but here's a one shot for you.
Now you were saying in the game, does the story pick up after that, or it just kind of stop? Or in the two games, I guess, does it pick up after this, or does it just kind of stop?
This kind of condenses what happens because in the game, Superman does end up getting imprisoned, but um he he's in a red sunroom, and so he shouldn't have powers, but his eyes glow red. So like they let us know that he's not done. But I think I want to say that he gets defeated by the good Superman, and that's how this ended up happening.
Mm-hmm.
And there are a lot more people, like everybody's involved. Like Deathstroke is involved, Lex is involved, like everybody, uh like the entire universe of people, kind of show up and have some involvement here.
All
But
on the same squad, or they have their
I
different
mean,
stances?
yeah, like different people have different views on it, and there are two versions of a lot more people. So they're like, I think an entire Justice League is brought to the Injustice world. So there are two Batmans, there are two Supermans, two Wonder Womans, two Flashes. Like there's two of a lot of people in the game
Just to stop
also.
this guy. Then that's what it takes.
Yeah, and I mean I think they ended up there. Like I don't know if I it's been so long since I played that game, but yeah, like it was a situation where yeah, they had to come in and actually deal with it, but yeah. And it was an easy way to do like an alternate costume thing. So you know how whenever we watched Crisis on Two Earths, there was
Mm-hmm.
the Crime Syndicate and then the Justice League, and there were like they were essentially alternate versions of each other.
Alterations, but they had slightly different.
It's similar in that you have the League of the Good People and then you have the people from this universe. And there's some confusion because, like there's a point where I think Superman kidnaps Batman and plans to publicly execute him, but it's not the Batman of his own universe, it's the Batman of the good universe. So, yeah.
Whatever Batman it was it still worth execution? Whatever his crime was.
Well, I mean, I think that he was doing that to draw out the people he actually needed to deal with, the insurgency. But yeah.
So the ultimate question now that we've watched this, is it possible for Superman to be redeemable after all this? Or has he gone too far?
That depends on who you ask. I think because he killed a room full of children, he needs to answer for that. I
Yeah, because
have
they were
trouble.
completely innocent. Yeah.
They were literally just having a party and wearing the wrong colors. That is what they did. And as
Yeah.
as a black person, yeah, I can't I can't get down with that.
Yeah. Everything short of that though, it's like it yeah, I probably wouldn't kill Hawkeye. I might chop his arm off.
Yep.
Or not Hawkeye,
I
Arrow.
knew what you meant, Green
Yeah.
Arrow.
But
And again, he did that because he blames Green Arrow for Jonathan Kent dying, even though you deflected the arrow into him.
yeah, so you lose a hand for it. Just and if I recall, there's arrows with one hand.
Yes, there is a Green Arrow that has one arm that Superman is the one who lasered off,
So that would have been the perfect opportunity for that.
but this is
But
not.
this ain't that.
This is a different Superman. This is Superman who's killing people. And so, yeah, I'm going to kill the guy that I think is responsible for killing my one living family member.
Yeah,
So,
this
yeah,
is this is the world where there's Jimmy on my shoe.
yeah. So, yeah, and I knew he was going to die. Like, as soon as that arrow went into Jonathan Kent, I was like, oh, Green Arrow's done.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, all right,
Very good
anything.
movie though. Very good movie.
Oh, I loved it. I had a great time. Anything else on the movie?
Nah, like I said, it's condensed, but it's very entertaining. 8.5.
Agreed. Okay. In the next episode, we will be reviewing Catwoman Hunted. So until then, salutations.